You know what I'm saying? Be able to face your life with accountability. Be able to accept that you don't always do things right. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Jasmine Lee, and I'm so excited to share that I'm now a licensed esthetician. So I'm super happy about that. I just wanted to say that I haven't been that active on YouTube and everything because I felt like it was kind of draining. I couldn't work up the energy to get myself to film anything because of what I've been going through the last few months. Unfortunately, my mom was sick for a long time with COPD, and she ended up passing away on March 13th. And so that was actually a huge reason why I didn't want to get on YouTube. And I've just now started picking up, being more consistent on my other social media because the content was short form and it was kind of like easier to do. And even that I struggled with. So I'm just now getting back into the swing of things for real because, at the end of the day, I still want success and I still want to be a successful esthetician. And that's really a huge burden to carry, knowing that I'm still grieving and carrying the grief. The grief is with me every single day. Like sometimes I still, burst out into tears when I'm by myself. So that was actually very challenging. And I can actually talk about it a little easier now. It's what month are we in? September. Yeah, so September 13th made 6 months since my mom passed, and that is really disheartening, especially because of our bond and everything that we shared together, and how much of a prominent role she played in my life for the last 12 years. So grief is really difficult because sometimes you feel okay and other times you don't. And then you have those times where you kind of have to push it down. I've had to push it down and suppress it. And then being alone at home by myself, I would cry. I still do cry. I cried yesterday. It's just hard, So to anyone who's struggling with grief, just understand that the moments will pass. They'll be there. And you're always going to miss that person, My mom she played such a huge role in my life and the life of my daughter. As I look back over the last couple of years, especially more recently before my mom went into the hospital, I was looking at all these signs that, she knew she was passing away, and rather that she knew that time was coming sooner than later. And so when I look back and I, look at those things and knowing that I missed some of the signs, it could be really heartbreaking because, a part of being so close to her was, I think being so close to somebody, you can overlook certain things. And I really tried to be there for her the best that I could. And, I'm so sad and sometimes I'm shocked and I feel like I don't believe it, that she's not here. And that can be a really hard pill to swallow some days because it's like I be going through stuff and I can't call her, I can't hear her voice. Just thinking about the just our relationship all together, and how I still felt like I didn't hug on her enough, towards the end of everything. I wound up losing my car, which is annoying, because that definitely stopped me from getting to the hospital quick enough to see her. And the day that she passed, I didn't have a vehicle and I had to catch an Uber to the hospital, and she passed before I even left the house, so I wish I had a car then so that I can just, get there early in the morning. But it's such a hard thing, losing somebody so close to you. And prior to losing my mom, the person that I lost that was a staple in my life was my grandmother, on my dad's side. And I feel like I was really weird with death. I didn't cry as much as I probably should have. And I shoved it down for years. And I think like 10 years later, I finally broke down. And it's just like, again, like all the stuff you're going through, you can't really express that to that person because they're no longer with you, you know? And it's like, what do you do at that point? You know, it's such a strange feeling, and it's ever present. And I feel like it's looming there, you know? So I think my mom would be very proud of me right now because I did manage to get a position at in the field that I wanted to work in. And I think she would have been happy for me. And unfortunately, things didn't work out with that for various reasons that I'll get into later. But yeah, I wish I could have been able to share that with her and just some other things. And, you know, my mom she was really funny. You know, she would make a joke out of anything. And even if I was upset at something external or something that she did or said or something that I'm going through or whatever, like, she would always make me laugh. She didn't really take nothing too seriously. You know, I'm more of a serious person because I was raised with my dad for the most part. You know, my mom was definitely something different, and she is one person who literally impacted the lives of everybody she came into contact with. She loved to make people laugh. She loved to make people have a good time. She was a dancer. You know, she would get out on the floor and do her thing. Like, every party was lit. She wasn't afraid to be herself. She wasn't afraid to be happy. You know, just of the things that she told me that, you know, transpired in her life. But my mom was a person who wasn't afraid to have joy. You know, she loved the Lord. She loved to have a good time and laugh. Even my friends, like, I'm thankful that some of my closest friends really got to spend time around her, because she would argue with her boyfriend, and she would literally, like, they would go at it, and then she would just laugh at the end of it. And then he would wind up laughing by default. And then anybody who's standing around listening to them argue would end up laughing by default. You know, she understood life is short, rather, but it's also the longest thing we'll ever do. And she knew that. She had an understanding that, you know, one day I ain't gonna be here, so I'm gonna have a good time while I'm here, you know. So all of the lessons and everything that she taught me, even like how not to take things seriously, you know, have fun, make somebody laugh. Because one thing she would say is, see Jazz, you get too mad about stuff that be happening. Like, you gotta say some shit that will she said, you gotta say some stuff that will just throw somebody off. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't give people the reaction that they feel like, or rather that they can expect. You know what I'm saying? Say something crazy to throw them off. You know, so when we did come together and laugh about stuff, like, we had a good time. We really did. And I'm so thankful that she got to experience my daughter, and my daughter got to experience her. I'm so thankful that they had a really good bond. They had a great bond, and they were absolutely crazy about each other, you know. But, you know, I got to spend a consistent 12 years with her, and to get to know her, to love her, to argue her, because we did argue. I can't even hold you. We used to go in, but she knows at the end, she knew I loved her. I know that she loved me. You know, I wish some things did go differently, but you know what I'm saying? I say all that to say, hold on to your people, express yourself to your people. It doesn't matter how they take it. You know, let people know that they do stuff that you don't like, you know, and be able to apologize when you do things wrong too, because the problem is not always with other people. You know, sometimes we are the problem. You know, keep it a buck. Sometimes you are the problem. And if you're not the problem, you're the common denominator. So that means there is a problem. You know what I'm saying? Be able to face your life with accountability. Be able to accept that you don't always do things, accept that you don't always say things correctly, accept that sometimes you may be harsh, or sometimes you may be, you know, you may not have enough boundaries or whatever have you. You know, the point of life is to just get the lesson. You know, get the lesson every time, so you don't have to keep going through these cycles repeatedly. You know, now I done went off on a tangent, but I just wanted to share that. You know, my mom was super influential in my life, and you know, I'll always keep our memories near and dear in my heart. And you know, I'll be sure to let my daughter know, like, your grandma loved you, girl. She loved her some Jenikai. Boy, I tell you, she loved her some Jenikai. Child, they would sit up and eat snacks. She would have Jenikai like going to get her sneakers and rubbing her feet and bringing her snacks, and she would buy just whatever for Jenikai. Like, my mom would literally like see something and buy it for Jenikai. Like, and I'm so thankful that although she and I really didn't get the chance to be close like that growing up, that she established that with my daughter, you know, and she was as present as she could be for my daughter. And, you know, that's something I hold very near and dear to me. You know, grief is hard. And at times it just be feeling like it's not going to pass. It's going to last forever. And I'm always going to feel this way. But that's not the truth. You know, it's absolutely not the truth. So I just try to do my best to just get up every day and keep going, you know, to remember her and to love her memories. Grief is difficult. It really is. But in all of that, God is good. I've leaned on God a lot in this time. I've leaned on, you know, friends that were present. And I'm really thankful for the people who showed up for me for real, like who didn't want nothing from me. They just wanted to show up for me and be there for me. One of my friends, Samantha, she, you know, unfortunately, she lost her mom too a few years ago. It's beautiful when you have somebody there who can understand you, who can be there for you, who can, you know, hold your hand a little bit through it, because it is something I have to face on my own. But knowing that, you know, Sam is a call away and she knows, you know, what I'm experiencing, even though we have our own individualized experiences, but the common ground there, you know, is I understand what you mean. I understand where you coming from, you know. So thankful for that. And to everybody who didn't check on me, it's still all good, you know. I pray for everybody. I love everybody. I forgive everybody, you know. So I feel like I don't want to go down to my grave with no grudge in my heart. I don't want to live my life angry. I don't want to live in a way where, you know, there's negativity. I could say this, like, losing my mom really made me buckle down on just my goals, like, and not even just goals. It's just how I want to show up for people and what I will and won't do for people, you know, going forward in life with love, but also not being a doormat, you know what I'm saying? So I guess I could say above all too, like, I realized when my mom passed, I don't really have to take care of her now. Like, I don't have to, that person that I was is no longer, you know? And I don't know how to quite express that, but it's like the routines and everything I did, incorporating her into my life, is no longer here, you know? So I was like, dang, maybe I got to change my reality a little bit. Maybe I have to change the way that I approach things now, because if I don't, there's a gap, you know? I was working at ShopRite at the time that I lost my mom, and the hard thing was when I would come out of work and being able to call my mom after my shift, you know, and not being able to do that all of a sudden. Literally, I would come out of work, sun still shining, you know, and just picking up the phone like, hey, mommy, what you doing? You know, she'd be like, Jazz, you coming over? Or you bringing Jenikai today? You know, and just not being able to do that was really hard for me. I'm like, dag, like, just last week, I'm talking to her on the phone after I come out of work, or the week before that, or whenever she wasn't too sick to talk, you know, when she wasn't too sick to catch her breath or whatever, like, you know, that was difficult. So it was an adjustment, you know what I'm saying? So now that I know I can't do that, I kind of had to change certain things, like change how I approach my day. Because she would call me every day in the morning, My mom would call me all the time. Like, and if I didn't answer the phone, she was gonna call like 3 or 4 times. I used to be like, yo, like, why are you doing that? You know, but she loved me. That's what moms do. And that's what she would say. That's what moms do. I'm gonna call you. Like, and then sometimes it would get me tight because when I would call her, sometimes like she wouldn't answer the phone because maybe, and if my mom didn't answer the phone, she was truly busy. Like, she was that kind of person where she would answer her phone all the time. It don't matter what time of day, what time of night, she was gonna answer that phone. So when she didn't answer the phone for me sometimes, I'm like, yo, like, what's going on? What could you possibly be doing other than being my mom? Like, what are you doing? And so she was like, oh, the nerve of you, you know, because I wouldn't always answer when she called, you know. If I knew I was doing something, I wouldn't always answer, or I'd be like, I'll call you back, you know. So I'm gonna miss her, man. She was really a staple in my life. Like, I knew for a fact, if nothing else, I can get a laugh out of her. Like, she was gonna make me laugh, you know. And we did a lot of stuff together. Like, I came down to live with her when I was like 22. I turned 23. And so from the time that I got here to the time that she left, we did a lot together. I mean, she took care of me, you know. I ain't had no job when I first got here. And so, you know, being at her house, we would always just get up, go to the store, go play her lottery, and go to 7-Eleven, and she would talk crap to them people, and just seeing my mom crash out on different occasions, and like, you know, I was like, dang, we really are like the same person, you know. So it really made sense that we had like some disagreements, because we literally both have a strong personality. We both come off strong. So we did a lot of stuff together, playing her lotto and child. And then when Jenakai came into the mix, it was just another little rollie coming with us, another road dog, you know. So I'm just thankful that I got to experience her for the last 12 years. Like, and God is good. God is really good. Like, sometimes he allows things not to work out just so that things can work out at a later date. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't get to spend a lot of time when I was a kid, but we got to spend a lot of time when I got to be at an age where I had my autonomy, where I had my own mind, I could think, you know. So I'm thankful for that. Yeah, so I just wanted to share that because I feel like grief is something that's very common. I'm not the only person experiencing it, not the only person going through it. So, you know, whatever gems that I can share to help somebody else, I'm always open to doing that, you know. So love your people, hold on to your people, say what needs to be said respectfully, with tact, with love, with care, kindness, with the mindset of you want to move on from this issue, with the mindset that you want to be better than you were yesterday, because tomorrow's not promised to none of us. I mean, I know we got a lot of plans, but, you know, people say God laughs at our plans. You know, we don't know what tomorrow holds. We don't know if we're going to be here or not. So love your people, hold on to your people, you know, express yourself. Don't run away from it. And if you're wrong, be accountable for your actions, but don't beat yourself up too. So if anything, I hope you'll take that with you, and, you know, maybe you'll approach life a little bit differently because of a piece of wisdom I dropped on you today. So with that said, my name is Jasmine. On my socials, I am at MUA Jasmine Lee. I hope that you'll follow me on this journey, because I share gems and things may not always have a clear-cut title or a clear-cut direction, but that's life. You know what I'm saying? Thank you so much for watching. See you soon.